Welcome to ATI Pro Media live at 9 o'clock here. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly today. Mostly the ugly on your grain market. Red overnight. Trade war is in full effect. Tariffs have become reality. Trade war 2.0. But it's the most talked about black. I talked about it, and then the trade finally started trading it mid last week, and it's reality here today. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff. We're going to talk about some other things too. Brazil soybean harvest, Safrinha corn crop planting as well. But Ag Economy Barometer with Purdue, they've released that. I'm going to talk about that as well. I highlighted the Jan results on my meeting little talk deal last week, and we've got new data out from their survey that they do each month. We're going to talk about that too. So run down your markets. We'll get Connor B in here, and he'll carry the weight of the show here, I'm sure. So May corn. 3/4, 996 3/4 on your May beans. Lost the $10 handle. But soy oil is down 47 points. Soy meal down $4.20, 293.70 on your May soybean meal, below $300. Chicago wheat, we got the May contract down 10.75%, 537 on your May Chicago wheat. New crop KC wheat, we're looking at down 12.5, 563.5 on your new crop KC wheat. Feeders cattle market looking pretty rough here as well. April feeders are down 360, 268.45. Fat cattle contract over your April fats down $2 at 190. Hogs are down $1.20 to $2 as well. Crude oil is down $1.15. Diesel, hey, we got a winner. That is green. Diesel's up almost, it's unchanged. We're going to call it unchanged. 226. Nat gas is up 32 points, 444. The Dow's down 570. The S&P down 85 points. The NASDAQ down 263. The Russell down 46. Bitcoin down 3,000. Gold's up 20. Silver is flat and green on the board. And your dollar's down 529 at 106.14. I think I ran through them all. I don't know. Connor, come on in here.
I couldn't help. Sometimes all you got to, so you don't cry, all you got to do is laugh. But I got to laugh at you trying to define the positive in the diesel market. But
you got to look for some silver linings in today's markets. But I'm having a little internet choppiness here. So if I get to chopping too much, yell at me. Okay,
if you start chopping, just know whenever that happens is when he says something really smart. So with that, right, I don't know, is it fair to say the fears have realized, right? The tariffs, it looks like they're on. They've went into effect. We've seen China slap some retaliatory tariffs already. So how about what if we just let's run through the facts. What do you think about that? What numbers are we working with? What products? And just go from there.
Sounds like a plan. I like it, Connor.
So the first one is going to be the tariffs on Canada and Mexico, right? 25% tariffs on both of those things. We saw them. They were supposed to come in February. We saw a 30-day delay. Trump wasn't happy with the results, so we are seeing them go into effect. And so now the conversation is, what are we seeing as far as reactions from both countries? Number one, Mexico. As of 5 minutes ago, we haven't seen anything announced, right? I think President Sheinbaum wanted to have a conversation, or they're waiting. But we did see President Justin Trudeau. He would respond with 25% tariffs on $30 billion worth of U.S. imports. And he said previously, he said this back in February, his targets would be American beer, wine, bourbon, home appliances, and Florida orange juice. So 25% tariffs, Canada and Mexico. Now let's flip it over to China, right? We had an additional 10%. No, wait, there's more. It's an additional 20% on China. And then we saw China react accordingly with, right, yeah, there we go. Perfect timing, Rick. 21 billion worth of American ag and food products. So that's the one, right? In our world, that's the one. It hurts to see. But I think, as we've talked before, right, we got to keep things in perspective. But I will pop this up, is just looking at total value. So we got soybeans, beef, cotton, sorghum, right? Those are the top ones, 10%. I mean, we've got corn valued at $336 million. I mean, I guess that when we're talking tariffs, we're talking exports. 336 million. I don't know if that's a big number, right? Corn exports to China, they haven't exactly been stellar, and I think that's what I go back to when we're talking about China, is that any type of U.S. exports, right? We've seen a decent soybean export program to China, but it's barely better than 2018 and 2019 when we saw the last trade war. So
right, and I think you got that safrinha corn crop, or the Brazil soybean crop right there coming out of the field too. So what's the number one game in town going forward? It might be Brazil beans versus U.S. beans going to China. So what's the impact there? I don't know. You hate to see it. More sentiment driven to me than actual.
Yeah. Look, Brady's saying something super smart, but Brazilian harvest and safrinha corn crop, right? That's the big thing, is that we saw this last time when we saw the tariffs, right? We saw China do a good job of diversifying where they're buying, right? They took their business south. And so I think that's, tariffs are going to be the headline. It's going to be the brunt of today's show, but let's make sure we're keeping it in perspective, right? Because Brazil's harvesting a record soybean crop. And guess what? They're now officially ahead of that 5-year average, ahead of last year. They are 48% harvested versus 47% last year. Mato Grosso region alone is 80% harvested. And then flipping it over to corn, right? 3 weeks ago, what did we say? Is that we weren't going to get bowled up on any type of planning delay. Well, I think as of right now, we were okay to say that, because we're at 70%, 70% planted on that safrinha corn crop. Last year, we were right around 73%. So basically, right in line with last year. Mato Grosso again, right? The big area, right? That's basically, it's Iowa, Illinois, and Minnesota and Nebraska all rolled into one. They're 80% planted. So they're making, that crop went in just fine. The weather doesn't look super threatening. That could change very fast, but that's another one to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's huge to get out of the way, get that crop in the ground. And, it's not made yet. We still got to have some good weather and rainfall and moisture come to produce that crop. And it's a big crop for Brazil and for the world. But getting it in the ground and overcoming that planting delay hurdle is a big stepping stone to get that behind us from a global, just the certainty, or clearing some of the uncertainty of what's the world corn supply going to look like going forward. Getting in the ground is a big deal. Getting in the ground's a big deal.
So here, we got to pop this up. Is just looking at, from Donald Trump to the great farmers of the United States, get ready to start making a lot of ag product to be sold inside of the United States. Tariff will go on, and he had to end it with "have fun."
Wow, yeah, and that tweet, or I guess Truth, I don't know what they call them when they're on Truth Social, but that message dropped out yesterday afternoon, right? And then everybody's kind of scratching their head. What's this mean? I don't know. The wording of it is interesting, and have fun, and you can hash over how much ag products are actually. We're a huge ag exporter, let alone I don't think ag imports are impacting us a whole lot there. But
right. So here's another good one. This is from Farm Doc. They put out. I plug them anytime I can. They put just incredible stuff out. But they did the effective U.S. tariffs rate. It bumped it up 7 percentage points. So this is the highest tariff level we've seen since 1943. Unbelievable.
Okay. Farm Doc always pumping out interesting graphics. There's going to be more graphics out there today as we digest all this stuff that's coming out. Going to be interesting to see how things react here.
Yep. So I mean, Brady's cutting off again.
Uh-oh.
I was going to
reins, Connor B.
Okay, I got two things. I was looking at, we've got, looking at May corn. We're 4 cents off the lows, if we want to be positive, right? We took the negative news and, I guess the hope we could find a bottom. We can look at technicals all day, but, they only tell us so much. But we bounced off the bottom. The other thing we had, we almost forgot to go over it. Usually it's the first thing, but I was ready to jump right into tariffs and anything else. Is flash sales. Wheat sold, 130,000 wheat sold to South Korea, and 20,000 soybean oil, get that out, to unknown destinations for 24-25. So we did have a flash sale. It would have been very ironic to see a corn flash sale. to Mexico or something like that. We didn't get that, but we did get a flash sale.
That's good to see. Yep, good to see. I don't know if my internet can handle me even being in here, Connor B, but I'm going to try to linger.
Where do you get your internet from? Are there tariffs on?
It might be.
I don't know.
I didn't check into that. That's a good point, Connor B. Good point.
Yeah. But anyway, what else do we got? You want to talk ag economy barometer?
I want to if I can. We'll see if
Give it a shot. Yeah.
if I
Let's do it.
start chopping, yell at me. But I
Yep.
think this is important. My last last week I went around the tour and talked about this. I really love these this each month they pull a group of producers and it's a gauge of sentiment. So we just got the February polling results here, March the 4th of the month. They usually drop this, and we got this out. So an improvement in the ag economy sentiment out there, which is fascinating to me. Great to see, highly correlated with the price movement. And keep in mind, this is probably before the recent sell-off. I think a lot of the polling data is the 20th, 25th timeframe of February. So not incorporating all of last week's sell-off. When you look at future versus current expectations, nice uptick here on current expectations that we've seen in their gauge of their poll results. But last month there was a big divergence. The future they were very optimistic about, and maybe not so glossy on the current, which is fascinating to me. And then you throw in this specific question they asked about how likely do you think U.S. ag is at risk of a trade war that results in a significant decrease in U.S. ag exports? And 40% of the respondents said likely to very likely last month. That's down from December. But then you throw in, I think it's up to 48%. And I didn't pull that graphic in. This one's old, but it was up to 48% here in February. Very fascinating when you think about future current expectations, risk of a trade war, and then you throw in today's headlines and what we got going on right now. A lot of people saw it coming. They thought it was going to impact their markets, but the expectations of the, it just interesting divergence there. I don't understand quite the answers on that front.
That ag economy barometer is always, it's always interesting, and sometimes, look at that. It's almost where, it looks very much in the rear view, right? Farmer sentiment, we're all guilty of it, right? When we're in a bullish market, it's always going to be a bullish market. When we're in a bearish market, my gosh, there is no light at the end of the tunnel, right? We can definitely get down on the dumps. But here's the thing: is that tariffs? We said it yesterday. We weren't sure if tariffs were going to be enacted. Was it going to be a bargaining chip? To me, I don't think anything's changed from 24 hours ago, right? We've saw them go into effect, but conversations have continued. Even Prime Minister Trudeau said that he was going to slap retaliatory tariffs. It was for 21 days. We're still seeing this. So here's the other thing: you want to be a bullish, is that if we could start being sold inside of the United States, is Trump pro biodiesel?
Ooh, I like that.
I would say, given who he's appointed, the answer is probably not really. But if you wanted to get tariffs on and then provide an avenue, provide a win for farmers, maybe I'm just talking my own position, but man, that seems like an easy way to go. But time will tell, right? We're not putting. I'm speculating here, and I always say I'm not going to do that, but it's fun to talk about.
Yeah, well, the tariffs and that, trade policy type stuff is going to shift where things go and where they move. And we may have some, retaliatory tariffs on us from China, but our products may go to other places as they rely more on Brazil beans, and maybe we backfill to other destinations that maybe aren't as big a buyers, but added up as a whole, maybe they help offset some of the lost business going to that, which today isn't a whole lot of lost business. It's more the sentiment, I guess, going forward of, are they going to come to the table? And if they're slapping tariffs on us, it doesn't feel like they're going to come to the table in a big way going forward. But a lot of things are going to play out over the coming months. I think it's important we don't get caught up in the day-to-day noise here and the headlines. It's look.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't
know. Absolutely. You cut out there a little bit, but
dang it.
Well, hey, we can go ahead and wrap it up unless you had something else, but good. You did a good premium yesterday. Look at that title. So what now?
I I don't know, just kind of walking through the the sentiment here and then decisions that you're looking at today. What's changed? We still have the same decisions, and just walking through some of those for everybody. So wanted to get that out applicable today here. Connor, thanks for carrying the load.
No problem. Hey, let's run. Let's say it one more time. Just looking at what the tariffs that we've got put on, right, is that we've 25% Canada and Mexico. Canada announced retaliatory tariffs. Still waiting to hear from Mexico. I think we're probably going to hear something right today. And then we saw it was going to be 10% on China. Now it's, oh wait, there's more. It's 20%. China announced retaliatory tariffs, and definitely in ag, in the ag space versus Canada, not so much, right? And then just looking at that is that, here's where they're slapping tariffs on soybeans, beef, cotton, right? Soybean is, even with the decreased export program that we've seen with soybeans to China, right? It's still is it the big winner or big loser? Probably the big loser, right? With 12 billion, over 12 billion in total value. So, that's what we know. We're probably going to know something else tomorrow or something different. But the market's taking it negative, right? We very much, any type of that bullish run we've seen with the acreage drop in January, we've given all that back. And so, with May corn sitting below 450 at 448, right? It's amazing how fast it's shifted, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. We're still silver lining. We're still above the August lows, right? We're just back to where we were October, November, December. So.
Yep. So, okay, let's do a few questions and we can get out of here.
Yeah.
We got who's okay, Farmer Brett. I love this sentiment. Who's buying calls on corn now that crop insurance price is set? Do we moon? The only thing here, I'm going to get on my risk management soapbox, right? If we haven't sold anything for 25, right, we're already 100% long. And so always keep that into effect, right?
Right. Yeah. We're afraid we're going to miss the big run, I guess. We're always worried about that, it seems like. So, and then where's your crop insurance actually trigger in? Crop insurance is set. We've had a sell-off here, and it feels like it's in the money, but is it really in the money? I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like, when we see, well, the crop, D's corn's at 445, that Feb average was 470, right? Anyone probably looking at crop insurance is going to be, well, we could take this coverage and it's going to make a lot of sense to completely max out our coverage. And for some operations, I think it would, right? Get that ACO, get that revenue floor. But I don't think it's it's not just a get the max coverage in crop insurance, right? I want to look, should you look at price protection in addition, should we look at a base crop insurance policy with price protection on top of it, right? Just get the wheels turning, I guess, is where I'm going with that.
Yep, definitely.
So,
oh gosh, Connor B, these markets are ugly. KC wheat down 14 cents. Looking over at D's corn down on the bottoms here too. And then run through another question here.
Luke, here's the last one. Luke, cotton trade really taking it on the chin. So, yeah, we're definitely, with these markets, I mean, corn's dropping significantly, but I don't know if anything else is buying acres. Right. I don't know if we need to look at that corn soy ratio. I don't think it's changed, maybe ever so slightly, but not dramatically. And so we'll see. Look, Ethan, good lead into what I was saying. So will USDA trim corn acres after these tariffs? It's the USDA. Who the heck knows, right? It'd be nice to see them trim another, or maybe when they trimmed close to 4 bushel in that January report. It'd be nice to see something like that, but we do have economic assistance coming, right? I would make the argument that it's still, even with corn price down, I don't know if it, I think we still favor corn unless something changes. So I don't know. What do you think, Brady?
Is your planting plans changed, Ethan? Are you planting less corn after the tariffs? That'd be my question back at you.
Because the tariff, it feels negative corn, but really it's soybeans is where the tariffs were announced, right? We popped that up with China. So I just don't, I don't think, even with this negative market, I don't think we're buying more soybean acres. I could be wrong.
Well,
I'm wrong.
Yeah. And when markets roll over and you have this sell off like this, you as a producer, your natural instinct is to sometimes produce your way out of a problem. So you're in the bushel business. So one thing you can try to control and maximize is the bushels coming off your farm. So you're going to produce as many bushels as you can to try to dig your way out of a hole. And your neighbor's doing the same dang thing. So you kind of just snowballs here. But yeah, I don't know that. I mean, 94 million acres of corn, it seems like a big number, but that number can actually grow between now and June, especially if conditions warrant. Now, the yield's a big question, too, with two-thirds of the corn area in a drought. What are yields going to be like? But you curb demand and have these tariffs on. What we don't want to see is Mexico back off what they're buying. They've been a huge piece of the export picture for corn,
Yep.
and we need them to keep coming to the table. So that's
Yep. Great points.
Big deal. China has been in the, they're a player, but they're not a big player right now for us. So it's more the sentiment of China.
Yeah. The hope, right? We saw this. Let's go in the rear view, right? Tariffs 1.0 is a much more, right? Right now, November soybeans are at $10. When we saw tariffs, we were at $8 cash corn for the majority of it, right? And then what we saw afterwards is we saw China huge buying, corn imports, soybean. We saw that it came out of nowhere. And so I guess, right, the hope is that always we see that uncertain of just, holy crap, China decided to buy, right? And so that feels, it felt far away last week. It feels further away now, right? China stocks are pretty ample. And now with tariffs coming on and a big Brazil corn crop, or big Brazil soybean crop, I'm sorry, it feels a little bit further away.
Right. So if you're a farmer out there and you're listening to this, and I want you to listen to a couple things here. One, you still got the same decisions you had yesterday, the day before, 2 weeks ago. Go get control. You can get control. You just have to decide if you want to. But stay flexible going forward, because like Connor said there, things can change rapidly.
And they
Remember
will.
that summer of 2019 printing a 3 billion bushel carryout on the balance sheet, and that quickly changed over the next 8 months to a 1.5 billion bushel carryout. So don't worry about catching a falling knife and catching the rip higher when this thing bounces back. But just make decisions, defend your bottom line, and keep executing. I like going out and adjusting some of those target orders here. Maybe I adjust some of those target orders and evaluate that. I'm chopping up on the internet. That sucks. That was a great message.
You came through the whole time. You came through the whole time on that one. I heard it loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Good deal. But what I don't want guys to do is paint themselves into a marketing corner based on a week, a month, a day's price action or headlines. Don't paint yourself in a marketing corner here. Keep the upside there. Manage positions. Stay in control. That's my message as we get out of here.
Consistency, right? And so the other thing, we're also not saying do nothing, right? If we're long 100% new crop, we're worried about lower prices. We know what to do, right? We know how to get control and be ready for future opportunities if and when they come. So,
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll keep our head on swivel here today and be back here tomorrow live at 9 to see where the dust settles and what tomorrow brings, Connor B.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right. I'll click the button and get us out of here. Thank you for joining us today, live at 9 every day. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See everyone.